The performance is about to begin. We would request you to please take your seats. Kindly switch off your mobile phones or keep them on silent mode. Flash photography and videography are strictly prohibited. Please be seated for the entire performance. Entry and exit will be regulated at specific intervals so as not to disturb the audience or the performers. In case of an emergency, do not panic. Please reach the nearest exit and follow the instructions given by the security personnel. We request you to allow women, children, and the elderly to exit first. We also invite you to an informal interaction with the artist as part of our Bench Pe Baatcheet series after the performance. Please sit back and enjoy the performance.
How wonderful to see you all. I should quit. We should define some terms here. Then maybe you get a little story. So, from the New Century Dictionary of English, quote, fear. 1, any of the discrete parts of the face, as in eyes or mouth or eyes. 2, the capital of Lower Meersham in the north central southeast corner, population 8,000,001 approx. 3, fear. 4, C3. 5, there is no 7. Colloquial, archaic, a verb or noun, depends. End quote. Look at this. Felicific. Adjective, causing or intending to cause happiness. Felicific. Anyway, now I guess we begin. Do you like magic? I don't. Enough about me. Let's get to our story. Do you want a story? Do you need to see me to hear? If so, sorry, not yet. I'm afraid you'd laugh at my native costume. Promise you won't laugh? I trust you won't. I know you won't, friends, but not because you promised. And you'll see me soon enough, I suspect, but not yet. So and yet, some things are not ours to decide. The shape of your face, say, or how tall we are, or whether we're forgiven, where to die, and when. I'll wait for the laughter to die down. I still sense some laughter. There. Wait. There. Me, right. So our story. Don't make it hard on yourselves. Don't be troubled by what you might perceive as obscure, hard trouble is. Just remember the simple human picture before you. This. A little boy in a cowboy suit, writing in a puddle with a stick, a dog approaching. Deaf or dumb the boy is, or like anyone, a little timid, partly stupid, afraid, ashamed, like us, like you. Our little boy is wearing shorts, shoes, no socks, no cowboy boots. He is there, dreaming of this real life right here. Picture the boy. A terrible storm has just ended, a cloud overhead, a little rumble. See his eyes. Sympathize with his clothes. Now break his arm. Give him some injury, some problem with the hip so he stands funny, can't walk real good. Now imagine that the stick that he is writing with is the bow of a violin. Picture a violin section. Picture every single person as a member of a violin section. We hold the bow above the strings, ready to play. Picture a bird settling on a branch or a branch. The violins are on fire. Feel the world inhale. See the readiness, the stillness, the virtuosity. And among this, the boy. Picture ash blowing across the newly blue sky. Now go fuck yourselves. Picture, I don't know, picture a bird or the child, the kid. Picture whatever you want. You're free, at least to this little extent, yes? Who knows? Not me. You know who I suddenly don't need? Anyone? No? No, I don't know either. No bother. Or to employ the popular phrase we use today to express our brainless and simpering tolerance of everything, the breakdown of distinction, our fading national soul. Whatever. I'm like whatever. I really am like whatever. Does it scare you? Being face to face with the modern mind? It should. There's no reason for you not to be afraid. Or, I don't know, shall I save your life? Shall I love you slowly and be true? Shall I stroke your cheek gently, almost not at all, and bring you a glass of cold water in the restless, humid night? Whatever. Meanwhile, we were speaking of the infant, the cowboy-suited child making his way in the business world. A tale for the ages, a flowery unfolding that will leave you yearning for that goodbye. Au revoir, cunt. Pardon my French. So we were, I'm like him. I strike people as a person who just left. So our little performance, our little turn on the themes of fear, boyhood, nature, hate, the nature of performance and vice versa, the heart of man, of woman. Actually, you know, the rest of you might be better off if you'd just gone with your heart and left like our friend now departed, who just left with his heart and the rest of his organs. I don't know. This was an aside. Pretend I didn't say it. Don't picture a pink elephant. So, yes, our little story. The little boy in the cowboy suit. Did I say he had a cowboy suit? Not important. Did I say he had a heart and body full of bleeding wonder and love? Not important. Either way, there is our little man before the puddle in the quiet after the storm. There is a little thunder, but no more rain. Not unimportantly, the sky is all blue now. Blue skies for child Harold, whose name isn't Harold. Trees are down, branches everywhere. The boy's beloved dog jogs daintily toward him, avoiding other yet-to-be-written-in puddles. She's been making her rounds, pawing at the bases of trees, sniffing butterflies, drying themselves in the breeze. So the dog, long story short, boy loves dog loves boy, no question, no amendment, no need to revise. The dog comes closer, stops to scratch. Then she lowers her head to lap water from a nearby puddle and is electrocuted. She's thrown some distance, flew through the air like some poorly thought-out bird. Her eyes were burned open, smoking. The pads on her paws blistered off. She was dead instantly. Veterinarians and electrical engineers would later agree. Poor dog. The boy laughed and wrote maniacally into his puddle. We don't know why, but trust me that this happened, and happened like this. He went over to her, knelt down by her. He opened the jaw and tried to put his ear in the mouth. The dog had white markings above her paws. He patted it. Ah, the clear blue sky, the whitish backs of leaves in the breeze, the feeling of the world renewed, but still the same. The boy yawned. A car came by, stopped, passed. An everyday moment. The boy swallowed. He lived through this. Questions? No? I have one. When did your childhood end? How badly did you get hurt when you were this little, when you were this wee little hurtable thing, nothing but big eyes, a heart, a few hundred words? Isn't it wonderful how we never recover? Injuries and wounds, ladies and gents, slights and abuses. What a paradise. Living in fear, suiting the hurt to our need. No, I'm serious. What a good game. Who can stand the most life, and still smile, still grin into the coming night saying, more, onko, you fuckers, you feeds, just give me more of the bloody same. Or, I don't know. What do I know? People ask about the name Thom Pain. I don't say anything. Or I say, it's been in the family for a while. Or I say, Child Harold for no reason. Then one of us walks away. Anyway, the boy lay down behind the dog. He closed his own eyes with his fingers. The boy lay in a puddle behind his former dog, whispering, I do, I do. He came home later without stick or dog. No one noticed him, the change in him. The boy got a pair of scissors and cut his hair half off. He drew a simple bone on his stomach with some of his mother's lipstick. He tucked himself badly into bed. He sang a song without word or tune. He lay there awake, breathing too much, biting a crayon, trying to hold everything in. The boy smelled of dead, wet dog. His legs shook and he wet the bed. This all being an example of, of how some days can go, of real life, of the close relations between man and animal. Now picture a pink elephant. Now stop. Good. Wait a minute. There. Thank you. Now I think would be a very good time for the raffle. I hope you have that little confirmation code you got when you booked. Yeah, has a number. Yeah, you can take out your phones. We have some really nice prizes. Are we ready? Yeah? Yeah? We have prizes. Okay. Who's feeling lucky? Huh? Who's got the luck with them tonight? Here we go. There is no raffle. Who said there was going to be a raffle? The good news is you didn't lose. You lost nothing except the time it took to find this out, which is a fairly large chunk. Some day, some minute, you'll have 30 seconds to live. Think of me, my little joke about the raffle. Think of me fucking around with your lives and try to smile. Trust me, there are people out there who don't love you. Who don't love you enough to spit on your smaller hopes in order to leave you alone, respectfully and truly alone with your larger ones, your larger hopes, which are what? Sir, care to share with us your larger hopes? No? No, I understand. Don't want to jinx anything. Or have nothing to jinx. Or can't feel hope. Or don't like sharing. The varieties of experience. Feel free to feel anything. Religious ecstasy, anarchy, shivery physical things, nothing, blood, your neighbor, that stranger you married. What possibilities we all have here. Ways and means to live and die. Cancer, for example, or depression, anxiety, insecurity, holes in your knowledge, spots on your lung, total oblivion, skydiving. More financial crisis, out of space, inner peace, shame, lust, war, me, hate, you, God. The things we may be feeling. The list goes on. And then the list ends. I'd be pretty fed up of this if I were you, right? I'd feel restless. I'd feel like urinating, like going outside and being sick, like lying in the grass with dirt and just holding myself. Or I'd feel like taking a nice long walk on the beach. Or I'd feel sorry for me if I were you. I don't know. But again, feel whatever you want. As if you need me to tell you that. It's your life, yes. What if you only had one day to live? What would you do? Now, that's easy. You'd be brave and true and reckless. You'd love life and people with a wild and new abandon if you only had a day. What if you only had 30 years? What would you do? If you're like me, and no offense, but you probably are, you wouldn't do anything. It's sad, isn't it? This dead horse of a life we beat, all the wilder, all the harder, the deader it gets. On the other hand, there are some nice shops in the area. I bought a candle holder and a chair today. I lost the candle holder somewhere. Now I think it will be a very good time for the raffle. I hope you have that booking confirmation. Right. So, where was I? I was thinking about your life, very distracting. I bought a candle holder and a chair today. I lost the I bought. Well, while we are waiting, a horse walks into a bar. The bartender says, "Why the long face?" And the horse says, "I'm dying of AIDS, and I guess I feel a little sorry for myself." And the bartender says, "My God, that's awful. I'm so sorry." I'm forgetting some part. But you get the point. You see the hilarity. It's funny because it's true. What a nice crowd. I see no difference. In a world filled with difference, sickening, disheartening difference, I see none between the you and the me. You all seem so wonderful, so I make no distinction. I see no separation, no unbridgeable distance between us, wonderful us, or none worth remarking, because the thought of you disgusts me so much. The thought of you doesn't disgust me that much. In fact, I think you're all so wonderful. I'd like to take you home, leave you there, and then go somewhere else. No, but seriously, I don't care either way. That's not true. I do care either way. I'm the sort of person you might not hear of for some time. But then one day, bang, you never hear from me again. We're all roughly the same way, yeah? Roughly? Except you're different. Where are you from, I wonder? Or did wonder about 2 seconds ago. Now that's over. We're through. Sorry. You can throw my things away if you'd like. I'd change the locks if I were you. Bye now. Reality can be funny sometimes. Not to me. Let's talk a little about love. I see. Fine. I'll begin. Do you like magic? I do. It's fairly new, this love of mine of magic. I made serious inroads into a woman once, doing card tricks with a deck that only had one card in it. Pick a card, I'd say. She'd lick her lips, touch herself or me. Maybe we'd laugh, maybe not. She wasn't from here, so I had to speak to her in the international language of love, English. To which she had very little to say. We got by pretty well, struggling for shelter and clothing. Money was an object, I remember, an issue. We had bad shoes and teeth. But in our poverty and hardship, we had some laughs, 3. We had an understanding, though neither of us knew what that was. And we were pretty compatible for a while there, what with our different sexual organs. Anyway, there we are, eating, sleeping, holding each other. The jargon of romance is almost unbearably precise. Going steady, seeing each other, going out. It takes a serious dose of shaking, vision loss, a year of staying in to really understand those terms, the pain in the words. Anyway, this was us, a couple, partnered, unapart. Whispers like you've never heard. "You've changed," she said the day we met. She had watchful eyes, sober sometimes, a natural sort of animal guardedness, a doggy sort of way I found fetching. Sometimes you meet a person and you know right away they are made up of 1 trillion different cells. She was one of these. A quivering thing, a good vocabulary, nice legs, pretty eyes, the backside. Apologies for the dirty language. But it's all dirty language if you look at it right. As for a story, if you're lost at all, you're not alone. Don't think I'm out somewhere ahead, somewhere, anywhere with a plan. I'm right here beside you, or hiding behind you like you in terrible pain, trying to make sense of my life. Or I'm just kidding. I don't know, maybe you are alone. Or where are we, I wonder, in your estimation, in mine? Earth is always an answer. We're on planet Earth, a planet in a solar system, which is one of 1 billion solar systems in the galaxy, which is one of 1 trillion galaxies in the universe. And you think you're pretty special. Mathematics. What can one man do? Nothing. Or, I don't know. I've been taking vitamin supplements. A, B, D, zinc. Actually, zinc is a mineral. You don't care. C, E. Did I say B? I don't care. Do me a favor. If you have a home, when you're home later, avoiding your family, staring at the dog, and they ask you where you've been, please just don't say that you were out somewhere watching someone being clever, watching some smart-mouthed nobody work himself into some dumbass frenzy. Please say instead, when you don't say anything because no one asked you, that you saw someone who was trying. I choose that word with care. I'm trying. A trying man, a feeling thing in a wordy body. Poor Thom's are trying. Poor Thom's fucking cold. I'm sure you people have some experience with Elizabethans, with the cold. Or maybe a memorable splinter. So, the child. Actually, let me linger with my woman a little longer if I could. Thanks. She still had her tonsils, her appendix, her wisdom teeth, all the beautiful, useless extra things. These plus the holes in her body, in her childhood, the missing things, the blind spots, all together with the pluses and minuses, a very complete human being. I loved her so much. So beautiful, my God. She had can I get some light over here? Debs. I loved her so much. So beautiful, my God. She had everything. She had fleas, which I think I gave her, and moles and birthmarks, which I think she came up with on her own. A healthy give and take. We were very close. She felt wrongly that she could tell me anything. I think of her in the evenings. Should I hear a plangent honking and raise my eyes to descry in the darkening sky a V of geese heading north or south, I take my pulse and I'm suddenly struck by the... Again, I have to say, I'm so sorry, but I just have to say, I really, really love your individuality. All kindness and loyalty and light. Or so I imagine. Maybe you could meet me later on. I don't know what I'm doing, so maybe don't bother. Unless you'd want to, we can get a drink. Should your ladylike ways give way to those of a drunken, cold, repetitive pig. That's okay, I'll still love you. Though not in any way you'd notice. And still, depending upon the state of your life and its degradation at your own hands, I could be a very good move for you. Maybe I didn't need to say all of that, and I may have plans anyways, so don't bother. Like, don't imagine that I said anything at all. Forget that I thought or felt anything. So the woman of our story. Actually, let's fuck the woman for a while if we could. Let's get back to the inner child, the crippled kid with the electrocuted dog. Did I say he had a face that was disfigured? Even if I hadn't, can you picture the face of a little kid in your mind without disfiguring it in any way? Can you picture anything without it falling apart? Can you picture even a simple square without it going sideways and wrong and rectangular? Right? See, I don't think you can. But let's forge ahead despite our obvious flaws. I'm speaking to the obviously flawed amongst us. And as well to those of us whose deformations are more private. Hello, sir. So, the boy becoming a man in the puddle. No, we're further along than that. It's late. He comes home, a dark house, walks up the stairs, supperless. Something is amiss. Some real thing is amiss. But who can put their finger on it, in it? Who can see it and state it plainly? The trouble in the tidy house on Garden Street. Having seen the kid, the only child, making his way from room to room in search of anything to mother or sister him, I dare say no one. The personality forms in the dark. Yes, this is possibly a very good point. The worldview arises at night, without witness. The boys did, as he grew, changed, away from people, in the bathroom, in the rain, down halls of everyday familial places. I dare say, no, I don't. No, I do know they didn't pat his head. They didn't muss up his hair and say, good boy. He comes and goes untouched. His childhood running out as he becomes a foreigner, an immigrant to the place where he was born. I have that same shirt. So, that night, the night of the stormy day that was his dead dog's last, that night he had, with his brutal new haircut, a wet dream, or nocturnal emission, if you like. Who knows what he dreamt of? Something inscrutably human, no doubt. Maybe of a woman bending over, eyes open, being nice, knees deep in muddy water, opening herself up to the dreamer behind her. Or maybe of a fuzzy, uneducated version of a girl saying a word he liked like voucher or ankles, whispering one of those funny little words that only refer to words like such. Or maybe he just felt some philosophic little twinge, a nice little physical feeling in the night and came without language. The little boy's bed with his little sheets with aeroplanes on them is covered in semen and freshly badly cut hair. What a mysterious scene. And somewhere in the same night, another youth bleeds between her legs, staring out a window, wondering what to tell them, wondering whom to tell. What a mystery. The onset of the breeding years, growth. The cancers are almost all in place. Nature laughs last, ladies and gents. Laughs hardest and best and last, deep into the night, at you. But think of it. What a paradise, as I have said. What a surprise to have a body. Meaning, across the world, hardly anyone sleeps. How could they? Every night spent in the body is a fitful night, spent fighting gravity and losing. Night after fitful night, spent fighting everything. So, the next morning, the messy morning of the messy day, that morning, while on a walk in a meadow, the boy was attacked by bees. A nest had fallen onto the ground and he had kicked it by accident, his eyes shut because of the sun, and maybe some other reason he had. Is it clear I love my subject and therefore don't pry too hard into his reasons, his empty head, his stupid little agenda on earth? Anyway, so the bees. They swarmed into his eyes and mouth and stung him on every skinny surface. The boy did not at first make any sound. The poor thing didn't understand. He thought out in the meadow that he had done something wrong, that the pain was already in his body and was only coming out then to punish him, that the bees had only happened along later and were trying to help. His body was exploding in painful sores, which the bees were trying to salve, to soothe. This, according to the boy. He really didn't understand things. But it's kind of beautiful if you like that sort of thing. If you like the idea of a little boy desperately spreading stinging bees over his bleeding body, desperately yelling, "Help me, bees, help," and sticking his little swollen hand in the hive for more. We've all made similar mistakes. Mistaking the bee for the flower, giving our heart away to the first prick or bitch to come down the trickling river. Anyway, so the boy, he crawled enough away, almost died, lay there until evening, neither crying nor laughing, a thing of nature, in pain among the crickets and the frogs. So that's the bee incident. I have an incredibly rich interior life. Yeah, I do. You're a very forgiving audience to let me get lost like that. No one else ever lets me do anything. Everyone always has little tips about the psyche, nitpicking at the soul. Hey, they say, why don't you get a haircut? Must you be exactly that talk? Maybe you could talk differently. Why are you always looking east? Is that really how you eat an orange? Change, brush your teeth. I hate the way you breathe. So, comparatively, you really are very nice. So easygoing, watching so gently. Looking out at you, I'm suddenly struck by this. Sarah? Is that you? Mary. I know you're someone. Now I'm going to do this. Behold. Consider. Use your head and imagine that this is a brain, or the mind. There it is in the skull of a little boy, still in the womb, battleship gray and growing, turning, folding over itself, kicking as he makes his way into the world. Amazing. A little boy learns to crawl, the nerves firing, his mind relying on his hands and knees. A less little boy is introduced to a stranger, is embarrassed. The brain sending blood to his face. The mind telling him, look down, little boy, hurt inside, be shy. And so on and on until an old man sits in a chair, the hearing gone, the eyes gone, the body almost gone. But the brain is still going, or the mind, insisting on itself, making itself heard, causing trouble. There, the brain, the mind in a chair, in the field, or under the stars, in the bright sun of Egypt, Hoovel, Beantown, all the while fighting, revising, planning its next defeat. Or a man stands before you, age unimportant. The mouth moving. Big things going badly, but a million little things going right. The brain is doing its job. But the mind, another story. It's a monster. They don't know. The doctors and the distinguished authors, but also memories up there. A fine hand on your shoulder on the steps of museums, the dog at play with a caterpillar, rain, insomnia, ocean waves, the taste of mascara, the feeling of night, how the world can sound. Such a feeling life, yes? Such sensation. Then pile the words on top and watch them seep down. But think of it, all of that up there, the brain and the mind, married, happily or not. Imagine. Or just think about snot. Imagine that this is a handkerchief and I just blew my nose into it. To backtrack, you worry, you have anxiety, the nerves crumple. It's a migraine, it's a headache, it's a blow to the head. And then you try to live. It all seems so useless, so unusable. The house you live in, the oceans, the mountains, the peacekeeping forces, the restaurants and anniversaries, the factories and gardens, useless. Fuck it all, kill it and burn it all down, you say, if you have a little headache. So maybe I have a little headache. Maybe I was born with a little headache. Just some wrong pressure somewhere. Maybe this is all. I'm speaking softly for a reason. It's because I hope that you... Let's go over the enormous and informative ground we've covered so far. So, we were talking about, I guess I was talking about a little girl, or a little boy, I guess it was, who was stung by a bee and used to have a dog. Then we spoke about a woman falling in love, remember? Then I took out my handkerchief and tried to use my imagination on you. I think that brings us up to now. Did the raffle bit, did the joke about the horse? Right, okay, another joke. Why is a fat girl like a tiny motorcycle? Well, of course she isn't. She isn't at all. You should be ashamed at yourself, or even for a second, for trying to think of how she might be. I'm ashamed of myself, and that makes me act out, lash out, or lash in, depending. I continue. So the woman, my darling from earlier, one fine week we woke to cold sores staring through our lips. Picture that we lay in bed, me confused but not unhappy, her thinking thoughts I never knew, I never will. We were so full of life, each other. Love cankers all. A pun, thank you. She had beautiful eyes. I'm almost sure I must have looked. And I bet she smiled, or tried to, through the cracking pain, the dryness I caused in her. But it was all more complicated than this. Plus, I lied about everything. And it was some time ago, all this morning, or even longer back, early this morning. The poem of the wee most hours. Old stars twinkle over the scene. No one else is in sight. Bony, stray dogs circle our house. Stars and dog and us, asleep in love or wide awake, one or the other. It makes you stop and think. The timeless times, how long does everything take? How long did I kiss her? That time I lost track of time, my lips red with life, saying nothing, covering in her and me in my saliva. And how long did our little boy, who I'm starting to get sick of, how long did he lie there in the meadow drooling, or in bed, or in the park, which we'll get to later, Long enough, I should think. Long enough to learn something. But back to the cold sores. After all my attempts at communication, something had passed between us. Would that I might provoke in you a similar mark, a little growth, a blemish of real life. Don't think that I will. Thoughts? Feelings? I'm sure. So, the woman and the man, myself. Good times. Except for everything that was wrong with us, everything was perfect. Epic romance in the aisles of all-night stores. Unaloneness at last, the stupid clouds lift. Kissing in the morning, pissing in the roomy handicapped bathrooms of emptier museums, a million little weddings. My life until her was just mishaps. I was wrong roads and mistakes until her. But then the lost was found. Happiness, perfection, with an asterisk. Yes, she found my love a little unruly, a little dire, too much of an emergency. But in the intermingling of, well, not intermingling exactly, it's more, well, we've all roughly had the same experience, yeah? Roughly? You're all looking at me as nothing. Hair. Human. So, back to the boy, the little mistake. He's grown up into an even bigger mistake. Aching bones from the growth spurt, furious oily skin, shy to the point of not even really being there. He watched the parade of life go by, drew some faulty conclusions, and said almost nothing. No one ever asked him what he was thinking, so he never really got into the habit. It would come later anyway. I sometimes like to think. Though that certainly wasn't always the case. I'm thinking right now. Yeah. I am. We were the perfect height. Look at me think. We must have seemed so stunning. What luck to be me then. The dirty nights, the magic days at the laundromat, sharing forks, taking our clothes off, afraid of nothing we felt. I disappeared in her, and she wondering where I went, left. It's not clear what happened exactly, so you sort of... Do you like magic? I do. It's fairly ambivalent, this love of mine, of magic. Once a moth was flapping around my room. I was afraid, a yucky flapping moth and me. It all had some effect, I'm sure. End of rumination. Thank you. Now, I'm going to need not a volunteer, but a subject from the audience. Please don't raise your hands shouting me, though certainly I see a point. I will choose someone. We know who you are. It would be good if the person were wearing light clothing. If he or she spoke a second language and liked a little violence, that would be nice. Now, let's see. I really apologize about this. I mean, we all hate things like this, but in order for me to really prove my point, to ram the thing home, I'm going to need, not a subject, a volunteer. One of you watchers. One of you lovely pounding hearts. Now, who, or whom? I sounded like an owl just then. So. How about this weather? Can finally take a walk outside. So this morning I saw someone walking 8 dogs, all so pretty, so pedigreed, except for one ugly mutt, a runt. diseased and angry, less loved, ergo less lovable. This is a very good seat. I hope you're paying attention. I am, because of my own pains, going to make someone else suffer. Because this is not my dream of her in lazy rivers, because I miss her legs around my neck. Someone else is going to pay. The leashes were all entangled. I really apologize, but so our volunteer, our conscript. Can I just go here? Sorry. Thank you. Okay. Anyone will do, but it's got to be someone. Who of you deserves it the most? I see some of you are game. Who shall join me? Actually, sorry, forget, just skipping ahead. Deb's just joining. Sorry. So, life for the little boy sped up and sped up. He was cool to no effect, left home saying only, I'm going somewhere else now. His mother wept due to an unrelated malady. His father, who is still alive, God bless his soul, waved goodbye. And so our young man to a city. He got jobs. You may have seen him, something close enough. He's a man waving a flag that says parking right next to the sign that says parking. He's dressed like a telephone, handing out flyers concerning telephones. He's picking up trash, eating in doorways, eyes down, an expressionless expression. He is like you, or is you, or isn't, and doesn't like you. See the former child, hated by life, about my size, losing weight, working for shit pay with no real belongings other than a dictionary. One night, picture it a winter night. One night in a park, walking off the day's food poisoning, he came upon some vomit, vomited, and collapsed. He wondered as he shivered on the freezing ground, covered in stomach fluid, saliva, and bile, if there just might be, more to life than this. Nearby, a brightly lit skating rink. He lay there in the slush, listening to Christmas music and chirping elegies to reindeer and snow. The shivers of his childhood came, then went, then returned redoubled, and then stopped. He got up and made his way over to the rink, leaned on the side. Families glided by, couples. Call it Christmas spirit, call it coincidence, call it whatever you like, but suddenly, in the bright light and beautiful music, he got sick again and collapsed. The next morning, at the city morgue, where he was painting the bathrooms, he saw her. He felt light and sick, sad but true, high on the fumes. He watched her cry. She was perfect in her grief. A born widow or orphan, a person of recent and serious loss. You can imagine the rest, so I could probably leave it at that, but I'll tell you. She never saw him, never would, and that was the end of that. Maybe I could have left that out, but it's a start. You're a very good-looking audience. I see we have some couples with us today. And on came the animals 2 by 2. Good for you. No, seriously, good for you. A few seasons later, picture him sitting nowhere really. A nice day in terms of the weather, reading his dictionary like a novel, scanning ahead to see if the story picks up. The man we're talking about is the child from before, right? He's not really outfitted for this life. He's not properly clothed, not enough skin. He reads on, absently picking a scab from the side of his face, staring at the word veneer. When suddenly, like a beautiful dog at a wrong door, oh no, like a gentle rain in the morning, she appeared. She appears. Sometimes you look off somewhere. There's something you want to see. You expect this almost operatic moment to happen in your life. You expect something to appear. And all there is what was there before. And you looking. And what do? Nothing. Or I don't know, maybe there was a raffle. Maybe we all won or all lost together. I'm speaking softly again because I want to be heard. Because I want to be gentle. To be untrue. So, here she comes. The one everyone would agree was the one, not the widow, not a widow, but close. A modesty, an understanding, a pain, a complication, a human being. Imagine a gazelle, a zebra, a giraffe. Now don't imagine any more animals and picture a human being. God, if you could only see her. Imagine he is not afraid. Imagine he has feelings. Imagine he reaches into his pocket. Pick a card, he says. There's only one, she says, demurely, womanly. Yeah, he says, in customary brevity, but surprising coherence. Anyone could see. And off they go to laundromats, chapels, bathrooms, places you've been to, heard of. The steps of museums, hand in hand, in hand in hand. She would write him letters, one of which he would save. Unless you're very happy or have a very good imagination, you can't possibly imagine how happy they were. They were close, not fully there, but close. We use the word love a lot. Throw it around. Less and less, maybe, but still a lot. The word love. We mean all sorts of things. I don't know. How do you, on a freezing night when, how we won't be able, damn it. And he couldn't see the story through. He didn't love too much, nor too well, but with too much sweat, shit, and fear. With too many long sentences, too many commas, it seems. May every animal find its animal. Find some food, its fellow animal, a warm rock, somewhere dark to sleep. How are we supposed to learn about things? What happens in the little spurt, in the little time we are, I guess, given? Maybe this will help. No. I just got this from back there. I don't like magic. I'm no good at it and I don't like it. But I do a little disappearing act, for which I'm going to need a volunteer from the audience. No kidding around this time, I'm serious. Would you mind? Thank you. Come. Stand right here. Thank you. The disappearing act. Here we go. I need you to shut your eyes. You have to completely trust that I'm not going to. Do you know she came back to me, sort of? I had a terrible dream the other night. I'll spare you the main parts and the details, but when I woke up, I went out for a walk. I liked the weather. It was nice out, raining and cool. I could see myself in people's dark windows. I stopped thinking and just let everything come. The words came and went, disappeared, like the things they stood for, like it's happening now. I miss her so much. I do. Help me, please help. I'm going somewhere else now. My face was so swollen, I lay in a meadow holding her. I felt spasms are last. I like violins. White markings on her paws, I should have tried more. Her pretty ankles, dresses she wore. I lay there, I lay everywhere, always looking up. She stopped to scratch, she quivered. You only have one day. I couldn't make the matches work. I scratched her ear, I kissed her lips, I kissed her mouth. The nest was full of bees. She said, I love you. I heard buzzing I didn't want to see. I said, I love you, and I walked around. I left home. Christmas music played. I could smell my insides. I lay there. I lay everywhere. Weeping mother, waving father. I sniffed butterflies. I pissed on things. My poor face. I ate scraps. I pissed on things. I wanted to be a cowboy, had food poisoning. He said to me, Sarah, Mary, and I didn't answer. I thought I'd be dragged up on stage. Who am I now, and what difference does it make? I take things out on other people. I took her on walks. We ran through nature. We barked at cars. He put his lips on me, and I, a lady, put my legs around his legs. I cut my hair half off. I kissed her. I hurt her. She hurt me. I bled between my legs. I hurt her. Then I wasn't anywhere. Then I was in love. Now I'm here. You're being very forgiving. We could have had something together. Wouldn't that have been nice? And off go the animals, 2 by 2. Love. I was lucky in it once. Wrote a note saying, thank you kindly, leaving now. Keys under the doormat. I had my reasons, though none of them good. Wanted to leave before I was left. She wanted the same way, or would have, soon enough. I was too confusing. I never really understood things. I did everything in fear of fear. What was I so afraid of? I had promised then. Now I don't have anything anymore. I do have a dictionary. It has synonyms at the back. Different mess for the same word to try to make life seem more full. It has foreign phrases, biographical entry, things about dead people's life. I thought you'd have left by now. What do you want? Not to disappear, of course. Shall I save your life? Shall I love you slowly and be true? Shall I bring you a glass of cold water and... Boo! I'm sorry, hold on. Have my water. Your throat must be getting dry from all the things you'll never say. And then there's you. Don't say anything. Don't think anything. Just keep in mind how little time there is, how little time there always was. And then try to be brave. Try to be someone better. Someone else. Fear. A word without definition. Nothing to be afraid of. Fear. Wonderful, right? So the little boy, somewhat hilariously, was never able to boo! Sorry. Enough. I have to go. You have to go. Maybe someone is waiting. Please be someone waiting. I'm done with this. Important things will happen now, I promise. Be stable. Be stable. Be stable. I know this wasn't a lot, but let it be enough. Do. Boo. Isn't it wonderful to be alive?